come. So maybe we'll plan it.
Sure, sir. We'll meet soon, sir. I just thought I'll say hi. Sorry
nice
to
of you. Thank you.
Go
Not
ahead.
at all.
Take care.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. I'm just waiting for her to give the go-ahead. Yeah.
I think Madhugandha will be joining and she will also start.
Okay, so I'll wait for her. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you. Yeah.
Ma'am, are we live? Okay, so let's begin today's session. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Today, we are going to talk about fintech. Today's landscape is dominated by fintech. It is everywhere. It represents a unique combination of technology fueling the growth of financial services. It is very important for today's student to understand what this world is and what options are available here. And as a part of data science community and as a part of this data science approach, we need to know what it is. And to help us with that, we have Mr. Swaminathan Nagarajan. Mr. Swami is an engineering graduate from PSG College of Technology, Coimbatore, and an MBA from IIM Calcutta. He has 30 plus years of experience in business and IT consulting, solutioning, and delivery of projects in the world of financial services. He has worked extensively in India and Europe, setting up delivery centers and solution units in various organizations like NIIT, Motorola, and HCL Technologies. So thank you so much, sir, for joining in and taking your time and help us understand what exactly is fintech. And now, without taking any,
I think we lost you, Madhu. Hmm.
yeah, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah,
Yeah. Without taking any further time, I would like to request you and let's begin today's session with your words.
no, no problem at all. Okay. Shall I switch to sharing the presentation mode?
Sure,
Hmm.
sir.
Okay, just see whether you can see it. Um, can you see? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shall we start or you want to wait for a few minutes? Is it okay now? Hmm.
Yes, sir. We can start.
We can start. Okay. So we have about 1 hour. We will target to finish by 6 o'clock. Maybe we will leave for 10-15 minutes for any question answers. Is that okay, Madhu? Is that
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. I'll pick
okay?
up any questions.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's start. I hope audio quality is clear and you can see me. But more than seeing me, I think you should be able to see the slides. Okay. Uh, Good evening and welcome. Yeah. I'm extremely thankful for the opportunity. Uh, See, one way of de-stressing for me is actually to have more and more interaction with the students, right? I really like interacting with them. I like mentoring with them. I like coaching them, etc. So, any opportunity to interact with the people like you, aspiring programmers and data scientists, is very, very important to me. Okay. See, today's topic I have chosen is fintech, right? I will cover few points on the fintech. Um, I will give an overview how the fintech landscape is. What are the different dimensions of fintech? Okay, that's important to understand. Then I come to the key part, which is very important for you students. What are the various technologies of interest in fintech? Why is fintech so successful? Right, we have to understand. And I thought we will take one user experience, which is a critical part, and I want to give a small case and see how it is designed. So you get an idea about the multiple stages, right? And we will also see what are the different type of career opportunities exist for programmers, data scientists in the world of fintech, right? And what you should do in order to improve or upskill your CV. Okay, we will start with that. So first is fintech, right? Fintech is an industry by itself now, right? You can view that as a subset of a financial service. If you go to any of the IT service companies, you can look at the revenue and they will say the revenue from financial service industry is so much. Revenue from manufacturing industry is so much, right? So what does that mean? IT companies still provide IT services, but for customers who are working in financial services or customers who are working in high-tech industry. You get it, right? So fintech is a subset of the financial service, right? The key thing to note here in fintech is it is a two word, right? It's a new word now, but it is a combination of finance and it's a combination of technology. So both are very important in this, right? So first thing, it is application of technology to improve the financial services, right? So we are very clear about financial services. We are not worried about manufacturing and other things. So this industry is a subset of the financial service domain. An example of a financial service is banking, or an insurance company, or a wealth management company, or a private equity, right? Anything like that. So application of technology in the financial sector. Why do you have to apply technology? Does it mean that there is no technology today? Of course, there is technology which is applied. But FinTech means application of technology to change something radically, right? That is why it is very important. So it's a transformation using technology. Okay, that's the key. It affects various areas in financial service. For example, it affects payments, it affects lending, it impacts wealth management, but using application of technologies. So that is FinTech for you. So I think we have to get the definition clear, right? Now, to give you an idea what sort of industry we are dealing with, right? Now look at this. Look at the spending, okay? I wanted to give you an idea. In 2020, the funding in the FinTech is about 48 billion. Today, 2021, end of 21, the funding is 95 billion, almost, okay? 2022, it is going to be almost double now, you can imagine. So there is a spurt of growth in FinTech. And if you look at the areas, which areas the FinTechs have come up with, right? We also said it is part of financial services. But financial services is a big domain. In which subdomain of financial services, the FinTech industries have come up. If you look at it, this is lending area, right? Lending meaning borrowing, mortgage, right? Then you have payments. Then you have investment management. Okay. So these are the three key areas in which FinTech is coming up much more. If you look at the number of companies which are founded, look at it. Okay. In India, 35% of the companies founded by FinTech is in India. Okay. Followed by rest of the Asia and other thing, right? Earlier, if you look at this time, most of the FinTechs happened in North America and Europe. Now it is most of the things are happening in India. One of the reason for that is FinTech provides an inclusive service. Inclusive meaning we have to understand two terms. One is the people who are unbanked, the people who are underbanked. Unbanked meaning there are people today from rural areas who have no access to banking, right? You have to really stand up and appreciate State Bank of India, which went ahead and set up branches in so many areas, right? But even despite all these things, there are areas which are not covered. There are people in India who are untouched. That is unbanked. Underbanked meaning, yes, those people have access to banking or any other financial services, but not to the extent a person in a metro has. That means the number of facilities or the depth of facilities available to a person in rural area might be much less. As a result, he may not be in a position to use some of the features, right? So FinTech addresses both these spaces. Now, FinTech at a glance, if you look at again, you can look at North America, some of the FinTech companies, you should remember PayPal, of course, it's a name which everybody knows. Melio is another very, very key important name. Oscar, these are all names. There are a lot of companies in United Kingdom, companies in Germany. In India, of course, we talk about Digit. I think some of you know about Digit, right? Digit is an insurance and a lot of other financial spaces. It operates with a very minimal people. One of the characteristics of FinTech companies is focus on the user experience, but with limited people, right? There are today banks which do not have any physical assets, right? So simple asset. So Paytm, Razorpay, Zeta, Policy Bazaar. Some of you know that, right? You go to Policy Bazaar, it's like an aggregator. You can search, choose the policy, right? So that's a FinTech, right? So these are all the key companies which have come up. One of the reason FinTech companies have come up is the different type of needs, right? For example, technology has increased abundantly, right? It's very important. Growth of technology means that there's a lot of access to all the people. So earlier people with no access, suddenly that is a target segment for you. One of the reasons why FinTech is happening in countries like India is there are still target segments which are tapped. So as the network improves, as the infrastructure improves, suddenly you have an explosion, right? Today, nobody talks about a landline. Just to give you an example, right? Everybody in the rural area has a cell phone. Today, do you know that there are people, farmers, agriculturists, who actually get the weather update from latest from satellite and then plan it out? So such is the penetration of such services. What is the promise under which these fintech companies come? Why are they successful, right? See, we have banks, we have insurance companies. Why is fintech coming up? First thing is they provide a lot of choice for the customers. Yeah. So when you say a lot of choice, if you go to a bank today, let's say you are married, you want to buy a house, there are certain options, there are certain products available. Possibly you will have to choose one from out of 3 or 4 or 5. When I say more choice, I'm talking about individual customization. That means I can create a mortgage product, I can create a loan product, I can create a special credit card only for you, which is not available to anybody. That's what I meant by more choice. Target service. I'm targeting typically. I look at your spending pattern and give you a very specific financial product for you, right? Credit. If you want to, earlier, if you want to apply for a loan, the only way of loan is you have to go to a bank. Or if a bank rejects you, you will have to go to the black market, isn't it? There's no other option. Or you have to go to people like lenders who will charge exorbitant interest. Today, internet has made crowdfunding, peer-to-peer lending so much easier. There are people who have enough money, they are willing to lend. So, and most important, the use of technology we talked about. The use of technology is there because it improves the efficiency. This is a keyword. FinTech is not a mere application of technology. It improves the efficiency of uh, the services which are delivered, right? That's more important. Efficiency could be anything. It could be the speed of efficiency. It could be, for example, like a straight through processing. Straight through processing, what we call STP, mean there is no human intervention, right? Let's say from the moment you apply for a credit card till it is either approved or rejected, it's fast. Today is Sunday, no problem. Still you can apply, right? That's what I meant by efficiency. So these are all the primary reasons for fintech. And how does the technology change the business model so that they are successful? If you look at automation, is one. Uh, Second is unbundling of financial service. See, for example, a bank or insurance company has so much product. What did the fintech do? They took away one or two niche product and said, I will only play in this, but I will give you a fantastic user experience. I will give you an end-to-end experience, right? Imagine, for an example, right? Let's say you have an account with the State Bank of India. You have an account with ICICI Bank, right? Or you account with, let's say, Canara Bank. Now, imagine there is an application which tells you, you don't have to log into all the 3 applications. You log into this fintech application, it tells you the balance of your accounts in all the 3, right? Very simple service. Imagine you don't have to log in. Otherwise, you'll have to log into each system, know the balance, and come out. This is what it does. This is a simple case of fintech. Of API development of all these applications and retrieves the information using a single sign-on. That's a key. So it unbundles, it focuses. If you look at each of the fintech, it will focus on a very, very niche service. It will not provide a very broad-based service, right? Then you have a different peer-to-peer lending I talked about. Crowdfunding. Today, I don't know, some of you might have seen, right? There are people using crowdfunding for different purpose. Somebody a startup, they do crowdfunding, right? Somebody needs an operation emergency, they look into crowdfunding, right? A lot of things. Imagine that is possible because of the fintech companies. So here is a couple of minutes which I will spend on bundling, unbundling, and rebundling. Okay. So traditionally, banks and the companies, insurance companies used to bundle service, right? For example, you may be a customer of account. You may be holding a savings account. You may be having a current account. You may do a credit card. You may have availed the loan. As a single customer, you will get all the reports. Unbundling is separate it out. I talked about specialize in one field and give the best in the field. Best user experience, right? Don't compromise. So ability to unbundle is one, and ability to rebundle. When I say rebundle, this is bundling in a different way using the modern pattern of all the target segment, right? So people like us used to visit banks. You don't have to visit bank. You can actually do, just to give you an idea, You can do banking, but without going to a bank. That is rebundling, right? So this is the evolution of a fintech business model. The dimensions. So fintech, when you say fintech, how do you break it up? Typically, you break it up in terms of the areas it impacts. So one is payments. We talked about the top 3 areas where there was investment happening: payments, digital banking, investment management, crowdfunding, P2P lending. Then you have blockchain related, insurtech meaning application of technologies in the insurance space. RegTech is regulatory tech. Insurtech, one example of fintech I will tell you. We take a insurance, right? When you have a 2-wheeler or a 4-wheeler, you have an insurance, right? Now, if you look at the model of the make of the vehicle, generally the insurance is fixed, right? Depending on the life. If it is a new Toyota car, and then it's a standard insurance. In India, the amount is same across all the places, across all the people, based on the model. Abroad, it's very different. It's based on you. That is, as a person, you are driving, right? What is your characteristic? How old are you? In what area you are living in? Is there a lot of crime? Is the area very affluent? Is the area, how many people are there? What type of development happens in the area, right? So this is one. So there is a morphological characteristics of you. Then there is the characteristics of the area you live in, right? And the driving pattern of you. So today, there are fintech companies which promise to reduce the insurance. Do you know how? For example, they will install in your car or in your 2-wheeler, right? Using Internet of Things, let's say. And it captures, for example, they will say you start with the insurance of, let's say, 1,000 rupees for the first year. Then it captures the driving habits because there is a device which is kept, right? So last 6 months, it captures the data. It tries to figure out, it does the pattern analysis and figure out how good a driver you are. So it places you into 1 or 2, 3 buckets. If you are a good driver, the company calls up and says, guess what? You have been driving excellently. Your insurance is reduced from 1,000 rupees to, let's say, by 20%. Or if you are a very erratic driver, the consequences are different. What I mean by that is, I hope you get the idea, right? It's an application. Imagine these are all applications which were not possible earlier, right? If somebody wants to know about your driving characteristic, they will ask you a question, how good, and you will reply. That's all they will do. But today the world is different. That is fintech for you. And look at the benefit of it. If you are a good driver, you reap the benefit of reduction, which was not possible earlier. So you get a fantastic service. You don't have to the company at all. Second, the price is reduced because of the efficiency. So basically, the company is fast saving efficiency as a result of using technologies to the consumer. Full stop. That is fintech for us, right? Okay. So if you look at the transfer payment, for example, transformation, right? You started with a very early credit card, very early ATM, okay? Then become stock exchange, then companies like PayPal. Totally, look at even online payment was a very, very niche thing earlier. And the payment when you give, it used to take 2 days, it used to take 3 days, another thing. Now various regulations have come up, and you look at point of sale payments, mobile payments, all in one. Now look at Google Pay, right? It's so fast, you can do it anywhere with no problem at all. So these are the transformation which is happening. What is the impact of all these payments? For example, one of the areas, right, on the banks. What do you think? As a result of fintech, do you get an idea, right? When I develop a payment application, I'm actually competing with a payment provider today. Who is the payment provider? Who is the credit card provider? It is the bank. I'm competing with the bank. So what is happening? The banks are waking up today. Oh my God, we didn't know that actually you can do so much with the technology. So the price competition, and who benefits? The consumers. Okay, banks will have to think newly. Oh my God, what type of service I introduce? And see, if you used to look at earlier banking application, the user interface will be extremely bad or clumsy, right? What will work in a mobile phone will not work in a laptop. Or laptop, what works, it may not be optimized for a mobile experience across the devices. Now, the experience is a key focus. You can start a credit card application at your home in a laptop, do it halfway, then you meet a broker actually in a shopping mall. The broker has a iPad. You he wants some more information from you. You input it there. Then you go home, you come back, or you add your signature, you open your mobile phone, you update it. transaction is complete. Look at it. You start in a device, you end in a device, but the experience you get is same, right? That is the power. So actually, all the fintechs are giving a run for money for the existing banks and insurance companies. At the end of the day, the benefit is passed on to the customer. So the banks are forced to. It's like as two competitors keep developing skills, the industry gets better, right? That's a way to look at it. Okay, so I will skip some of this crowdfunding. These are all different areas. So I want to spend some time on the architecture, typically in a fintech architecture, right? A data architecture. How does it work? Remember, for a fintech is always the prime thing is about user experience. Because end of the day, between one lending application of a bank and another lending application, there will not be, at the core, there will not be major difference. So where do you differentiate? If you want your product to succeed, how will you differentiate? The major focus is on the user experience, right? It is not user interface alone. User experience is a superset of user interface, right? It's an experience of you starting a transaction, continuing the transaction, and ending the transaction, or raising a query or something, whatever, right? That is so the ability to do multiple channels is a first key requisite. Then you have a backend system. The backend system has to be robust. It's like a core application, right? This is a real program. Even this channel is a program. I'm saying core program one which is doing the processing. What it does is manifest a user through any of the delivery channel. Then you have multiple products or multiple various things, right? Remember, if fintech have to do everything itself, it can coordinate the product, you unique experience. That is the key. This is a typical architecture. You always have a front end, you have a mid end, you have a back. The front end is in terms of if it's technological sense of a fintech, so in 12 months you get investment in fintech. First, data analytics, 74% will 74% will be 12 months of focus areas. So all these areas fintech is not like a normal writing program. Fintech is about using the technology to the full, to harness the full potential and to deliver a seamless experience. So I will skip blockchain. Blockchain is fundamental to most of the fintech application. I'm sure you'll be doing a course on blockchains. Basically works with linking the blocks. It works with authentication. It ensures that, for example, if you have a payment from A to B, it gets done properly, right? And how each record gets added to it, to the entire cycle. So remember, Bitcoin is not a blockchain. A lot of people get confused. Okay, it's a blockchain which powers the Bitcoin process. What type of fintech applications use it? Any contract, any between two contract management between two financial companies, certificate of ownership, authenticity of statements, any financial transaction, proof of ownership, all these are typically possible using blockchain. Blockchain is not only restricted to financial. A lot of countries like Nordic countries like Sweden, they use it for land registration and a lot of other applications. Okay, we'll skip it. This is exactly what I said. I said I will take one role. I will try to explain what it means, how to go about it, right? So I have taken the role. There are many roles possible in the fintech industry. I have taken one role which is called experience designer. Okay. So if you take this role, if you are to be employed as an experience designer in a fintech company, what is the goal? The goal is to develop innovative products, right? And the products, remember, product should not only have a jazzy experience. It should basically solve the problem first, because if it doesn't solve the problem, no matter what the interface is, it's not going to help. So it should solve the problem, but it should bring in a fabulous experience, right? So now, if you look at The characteristics of FinTech, as I said, it is mobile or artificial intelligence first. That is the primary thing, the core. Then cost effective. This is important. If why would you go to a FinTech company if you can get a cheaper product using bank? Still, you may go there because for a bank, you may have to go physically. It is still possible, even though banks are coming away from it. But the fundamental reason is that it is cost effective and efficient service. So as a result of FinTech, the cost should be reduced. If not, really the technology hasn't been used very effectively. And it should be done using agile methodology. Why agile? Because this is not a typical waterfall method where you give the requirement once, forget it, after 6 months, something comes out. The interest of the consumers change. So you need to understand and build the product. So what are the typical life cycle? First, you start with the business context. Analyze the user personas, right? It is a persona is like a user occupying a particular role, and you have to put yourself in the role and see how a day in the life looks like, right? So if I am a credit card service provider as a persona, how does it work from end to end? If I am an applicant, I'm a user of credit card, what is the journey looks like? You need to understand this. You need to conduct research because you need to identify where the pain points are, what is the current problem which is being faced. Then develop the architecture. Architecture is a basic building block, not the actual design of the screen. That comes later. First, you have to build. Remember the architecture I showed? There is a front end, middle end. You need to lay the rules of the land. What is the technology I'm going to use? What type of approach I'm going to use? Then you design. Now remember the two boxes which I have colored in the same manner, just to show that these two are related. It doesn't stop there. It's an iterative requirement. You can't, again, after the first iteration, you go back whether you got it right. Keep doing it. That's agile way of frequent delivery, but each delivery you are coming closer to the product you are building. So this is the role of an experienced designer. Now I'm just giving an example here. So let's take an example, right? There is a FinTech firm which wants to specialize. It wants to offer loans to students, right? See, today courses are costly, right? You want to do an MBA or you want to do a postgraduate, another thing. Even in India, the cost have become very high. So this FinTech company which wants to offer loans. If you assume this is a scenario, how do they go about it actually developing a FinTech product? First thing is that they have to understand what's the business context, right? So you need to be clear, what is the problem I'm trying to solve? You should be able to list it down. How do we plan to be different from others? Are there enough solutions available already? Right? So you will have to ask, why would your user choose us? What is that we are going to offer? So, for example, first thing is, who is our target user? In this case, I'm saying students in the age group of 18 to 28 years, right? Who plan to access education. What is the problem you're trying to solve? Today, it is a cumbersome process. It's a non-customized process, right? Whether you are a student A, student B, whether you are from rural or urban, everybody has to follow the same procedure. If you have to go to a bank, you have to go to a bank. You may have to go to physically to surrender some documents or verify, right? The process is not customized for you depending on the background, depending on your ability, depending on any other characteristic. So that is one. There are if you are a minor, you have to get a parental guarantee. Yeah. Similarly, how do we intend to solve? How these problems are there? As you build a FinTech product, how will you solve it? You talk about instant authentication. For example, you look at their social media profile. Is there any information you can gather and use it for authentication? Credit rating. Typically, credit rating involves only banks and other thing. Is there any alternative sources using which? Suppose you don't have any bank financial this thing. What else I can make use of in order to make sure that you are worthy of giving a loan? So this is how you start developing. Next is it's customer empathy, right? You have to put yourself in the shoes of the customer and finds out what frustrates the students. Why are the students not using existing loan application? What motivates them? Okay. And what will be your wow factor? This is very important, your wow factor, right? If you look at what frustrates, I have written some few points here. If it is a paper-based, slow-moving process, that could be frustrating them. Okay. Academic performance is not considered. For example, in credit rating could be only looking at what is the land you have, what is the house you have, what is the fixed asset you have. It's a new method actually. I don't know whether it is right or not. I'm just saying there are some other data. What motivates them? For the students, why would they go through this process of getting a loan? They may want to reduce their burden of their family, parents, right? So academic to professional, they want to very seamlessly transition. What will be a wow factor, right? Imagine its own application. Remember that we started with. But if it is a solution which will track their growth and reward them, for example, as they perform well, maybe there's an impact on the loan, it continuously tracks. And the seamless workflow. This is what I call a STP, straight through processing. Very important. So this is one way of looking at the user persona. Then you have to do research, right? The third phase, we said research. What is the research here? You have to look at current problems. You will have to see what you want to give in terms of your solution, right? First thing, I see future ready. Okay. Now, today students are accessing only through a laptop or a mobile. Tomorrow, it could be smartwatch or a classroom which is IoT enabled, they may still. So you can't say, hang on, I will come out with a new version of the product that will take 3 months. After that, it will take all the input from IoT. You can't, you don't have time. As the technology evolves, your product should start working in the background seamlessly. That's a way, sure way, a customer falling in love with the product. So similarly, screens should be clutter free. It should be easy. There's no, here you are not packing with the information, right? This is not advertisement. This is a solution. He is actually going through the transaction. Simple. So usage of social media, okay? These are all the things which might actually improve the experience. Then, as I said, develop the architecture. Architecture is about putting users, the context and content, okay? Then you come to the design. Remember I said the design? This is the actual design of the screens. You do the wireframe, you look at the process flow, look at the storyboard, iterative prototype, then you come with a complete design. When do you say it's a great design? Remember, only when it can communicate the idea through a storyline. It has to be a data-driven story. You have to seamlessly flow. Then it's a great design. Just because you have 10 screens which are super colorful doesn't make it. If the screen hopping is very difficult, and if one screen to another there is a discontinuity, it's not a great design. So for a student to use this product, if you have to design, use from the exam preparation, you have to start liaising with the students before the need for the loan comes. That's ideal thing, right? Then admission process, college days. Remember, once he gets a loan, he still continues to be a user. After he gets an employment and completes, he still complete. That is a long-term relationship, right? Then you know that you have the customer. You have held on to the customer. You have an opportunity to roll out much more new products later. So that's how you design. Actually, I hope you get the idea, right? This is how fintech space user experience is built, and that's what differentiates. I want you to go to some of the websites of the new fintech products, like Atom Bank. Simple, just to go and see what the difference is. Okay. If you have to look into the future now, it's going to be technology. You take away technology, there is no fintech, right? I hope you understand. There's nothing there. So consumers will be dealing not with the banks, insurance companies. They will be doing banking, but not with the banks. Okay. There will be phenomenal startups in the area. Most of the funding is going to be, and the ease of doing business is what matters here. Okay. Just to give you an idea, impact on the developing world like our country is phenomenal. Because why are there more, as I said, why are more fintechs coming here? Because they want to reach more and more people. And this is one sure short way, actually. Academics, there are today, it is so important of fintech is that there are specific programs in MBA, specific certificate programs which you can do to gain fintech, how to work in fintech, what is a mindset, etc. Right? What are the things you need to know? In India, we are talking about great things. Okay. There's India, of course, there's a large demand. If you look at the initiatives like UPI, Aadhaar, GST, all these are fundamental for actually the launch of many fintech products. So banks are motivated to be more and more innovative, more and more competing with the fintech players. Fintechs want to offer very specialized product. And remember, you can be in Chennai, launch a fintech product which is used and consumed by the entire world, right? That's a power of today's startup. That's a power. Your revenue can come not because where you are located, it can come from anywhere. Right? And India itself, if you look at India, a lot of companies adopted FinTech in areas like core banking, treasury management, insurance, etc. After that, they extended into mobile banking, trading, analytics, finance analytics, right? And payment remittance. But more innovation is coming in cash cards, PFM, Bitcoin. Look at Atom, look at LiveQuick, look at MobiQuick, right? These are all companies which are using more and more innovation. Today, if you look at it, there are so many unicorns are coming up. In 2025, we are talking about more than 3,000 plus startups, but not all will be the startups. Some will have achieved unicorn and megacorn status, right? So that's the way we are looking at the industry. Now, I was looking at what is the career avenues because typically I'm addressing the students of BSc, right? Programming and data science, right? What are the career avenues in FinTech possible? I already talked about one role, which is experience designer. Another role is product engineering. Another role is cloud related, right? As a data scientist. These are all the various roles possible in FinTech. Okay. I want to give you some idea. So next 10 minutes we will spend, and then we will answer if there is. So first thing is you have to remember, you can be a programmer, you can be a data scientist, but you don't want to work in the financial industry. That's not a problem at all, because you can provide as IT services for a manufacturing company or a high-tech company or an electronic company. It doesn't matter. You are still a programmer, you are still a data scientist. But if first test you have to ask is, do you enjoy the application of technology to finance? Are you open to learning new technologies? Because why this question is important in FinTech? Because this is where the technology changes very quickly and you discover newer applications of existing technology. Sorry. Can you think of new and innovative ways delivering existing product? If the answer is yes, you choose FinTech. If not, you pursue other jobs, right? You pursue other programmer jobs and other industries. But for FinTech, this is a characteristic. If the answer is yes, you have to be extremely honest with you to subject this question. If your answer is yes, there are so many areas we can work in FinTech: AI, data science, blockchain, payments, etc. But there are 3 steps you have to do. First is core skill. You need to build the core skill. Imagine like a pyramid, right? Core skill is very important. Then you need to bring specific skills. Specific skills is pertaining to the roles, each of the role you want to do. For example, the specific skills for user experience is different from specific skills for a quantitative analyst. Then you, in the CV, you have to show the proof points. Okay. What is a proof point? So suppose you say that I have this skill. How will you convince the person who is looking at your CV? That's a proof point. Your proof point can be a subject you have passed, a certificate you have earned, a training you have attended, a white paper you wrote, or a blog which you are maintaining, or a project which you have done, anything. Because I am assuming you will not have work experience, right? Without work experience, these are all the various proof points you can demonstrate for a specific skill. Now, I hope this is extremely clear. Now, the skills are ability to work in a team, ability to work with a different type of people, ability to solve complex problem, team management, time management. These are all the core skills. Very, very important, right? This is nothing to do with the FinTech. Actually, these skills are required everywhere. Okay. So these core skills are a must, and you don't have to specify these core skills in your CV at all. Why? Because if you are applying, it is that you possess skills. Customer, the you return this skill, you will take it for granted. So you don't have to write in the CV, I am a great communicator, I can work with the teams. That because you are giving proof points there. From the proof points, the interviewer can make sense. But for a specific skill, which is role-based, you need to demonstrate that skill. You need to write that skill in your CV, right? Because that cannot be inferred directly. Just because you are applying for the position of a data scientist, does it mean that you have all the qualities of a data scientist? No. I will have to read your CV, understand whether you have it. For example, I have given below some of these insights. If you are a data scientist, you have to have done data cleansing, missing data management, analysis, statistical modeling, using different type of diagnostic and predictive analytics. You will have to give proof points for these skills. If you want to become a data architect, you have to talk about how the master data management works in an enterprise at the architecture level. If you want to be a business analyst, You need to look at what is the business. Remember, we try to capture the business needs in the example. How do you capture? How do you write down the requirement? How do you convert the requirements into your product? What type of products you use to capture requirement? So these skills become very specific skills to you. That so for the roles, I said these are different type of role: quantitative analyst, data scientist, project management, data architect, programmer in robotic process automation, programmer in cyber security, right? You can focus on cyber security, or programmer in blockchain and crypto, or you can program in application development across devices, mobile, iPad, anything, right? Or programmer in machine learning, or you can be a product manager. You can look how to deliver a product using people available, or a UX designer. We talked about this role in detail, right? Now, I want to give you an idea about I remember we talked about proof points. One of the proof point is to show that you have mastered that skill by demonstrating a certificate. But the certificate comes from a valid institute or a valid body, which is recognized. That's more important, right? So first thing is, any of these areas, if irrespective of the role you want to apply for in FinTech, in my opinion, you should look at NPTEL. In addition to whatever IIT course you are doing, look at NPTEL courses, which are a vast array of courses are available. And within NPTEL, there is a facility for domain certification. For example, in data science, you can do a domain, or you can do specifically in data structures, algorithm, nothing, right? There are many areas. When you say domain, you have to take a fixed number of courses lasting for a specific duration of weeks. So whatever your course system doesn't offer, you can use this time to get an NPTEL certification. NPTEL certificate is recognized. It's from IITs. Second is, I want you to look at Coursera and Udacity. There are special discounts for students available. Look at courses which will augment your skills. Okay, I have not given the list of courses here. It's very easy to find out. Then I have given specific courses. For example, understanding of FinTech. There is a course by Copenhagen Business School under CFTE. You can take this course. They are all fairly cheap, and most of them offer a special discount for students. Okay, if you want to specialize in business analyst, apply for the role, you have to demonstrate you have a business analyst certification in addition to the programming knowledge what you have gained by doing this course. So there is an institute of business analyst you can look at. Agile, you want to be any of the programmer role, blockchain, crypto, mobile computing, you need to show that you understand agile method of development. You need to get a safe certification, scrum master certification. Then you want to specialize in data visualization. There are certifications available, right? What type of models to choose, what type of visualization technique to apply. And this is important for a UX designer. Then project management, you should have used some of the project and you should be able to demonstrate that certification. Okay. Design thinking, how to develop a product or a user experience. Design thinking becomes important. There is a brilliant course from NPTEL itself offered by Professor Bala Ramadurai, design thinking initial course. Then there are innovation and design courses offered by Professor Chakrabarti, IIT Bombay. Fantastic courses, okay? They touch upon design not only in program, design in multiple real life, but that will give you an idea about how the user thinks. Because to do a proper design, it's not necessary for you to limit to computer science. You look at design which happens elsewhere and get those ideas here. Blockchain, there is a blockchain council itself, which is a recognized body. So if you want to specialize in blockchain, I would recommend you get the certification from here. Okay. Cyber security, there is a code. Sorry, there is a course from IBM itself, the master cyber security. Okay. Then UX course, there is a special user interface experience course. This is my choice. California Institute of the Arts. Look at the institute which is offering that course. This gives you a complete design-centric and visual communication, right? So in addition to the BSc course, what you do, imagine by the time you complete, you have one of the certification. But don't do all certification. You have to get an idea about the role you want to do. That's what I said. Fix the role. Then look at building proof points. They are all proof points. Cloud, for any data engineering, you should get a GCP, Google Cloud or Amazon Cloud certification. Okay, so this is what I wanted to cover. You know that I rushed it, but just to sum it up, FinTech is a growing industry. With a take away the technology, there is no FinTech. Okay, simple. That's it. if you have to ask yourself whether you have an aptitude to succeed in this industry. Remember, as I said, you can still be a programmer, data scientist in other industries, but if you have to work in a fintech, it requires a special mindset. Fourth, we are talking about different type of roles and the way you have to build the CV. A CV has three components: core skill, which you should not mention in the CV; specific skills, which are role specific, you have to mention in the CV; then the proof point. For every specific skill, you need to give one or two proof points, right? That's a way to sell yourself. That's a way to get a passion for the role, what you want to do, right? So make use of the digital presence, Twitter, LinkedIn. Some of you who are interested in blogs, as I said, the blog itself can be a proof point. You can show in the CV, you can write, please go through my blog. It will give an idea about your thinking, what you are commenting, right? And the ability to write a report. That's why I mentioned the pre-C writing. This is a very skill which is almost lost, right? You look at a 10-page requirement, and you want to consolidate and see what are the key skills. Somebody wants to say, give it to me in one page. You should know pre-C writing. You should be able to bring the key features of it. Naturally, if you have to have a strong quant skills, which are the underpinning of all the roles, right? So that is where we are. So I hope actually you will, those of you who decide to work in fintech industry, will take the path, will look at other options, how to augment yourself, how to enrich yourself, not only in learning, how to demonstrate proof points, right? I wish you all the best. Yeah, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the insightful session. And you said it correctly, finalize a role and then go for certifications and everything. It's really important. Yeah. And thank you for mentioning some of the great resources out there. It can be really helpful for all of us. So, guys, if you have any question, you can put it in the chat. I'll make sure to pick it up. Till then,
Yeah.
like, I have a question. Like, sir, what?
1 minute. I will
Yeah.
just come back to the screen.
Yeah, sure.
So that I will. Yeah. Yeah. I'm all yours. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, what do you think is the role of like analyzing?
Analyzing. So analyzing is, can you hear me? I lost you there, Madhu. Guys, can you hear me? Yeah. Can any of you reply? Is it okay now? Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you. Yeah, sorry. So she talked about analysis role. To me, analysis role is very important. One of the ways see, analysis role is important whether you are a programmer or not. But there is a very specific analysis role called business analyst, right? This is a person who understands actually what is the product to develop. Remember the example I gave you? So two questions. What is your target segment? Why will they buy this product? What is the problem you are trying to address? You need to write it. You need to get the requirements first in plain English. Then you will have to translate it in a way the program can be developed. Okay, I'm just using a simple word program, but it is still, when I mean the program is, I mean the product. And remember, the product meaning typically agile, it's a scrum. So you will have to develop multiple sprints to develop the product and bring it closer and closer to what you expect. That is the most important part. So business is XT. But if you're not doing analysis, if you're doing a normal programmer, remember, you need to understand when somebody says this is what you have developed. See, nobody will feed you, right? Exactly do. So they will give a context and come out with. So you need to that look to ideas and say this is how I want to do. Right? I hope that's clear. So very, very important analyst role. To me, the pinnacle of the role is the user design. It's because you take away that, the product has no locus standi actually to succeed. I have opened the chat section. If any of you has a question, please. Yeah. So Bipin has written. Okay. What do you believe? Or see, there are still untapped. First, remember, we still, even with this entire India's and China's population, we have not reached everywhere, right? There are, just to give you an idea in terms of the number, there are about 15 to 20% which are untapped. I remember I talked about two things, Bipin: untapped and undertapped. Okay, so untapped is about 10 to 15% remaining. And remember, when these percentages, don't get worried. The 10 to 15% of India's population, so the number is staggering, absolute number. More important is underserved, right? Underserved meaning those they have access to basic service, but they don't have into products which will elevate them into this thing. So this is a tremendous market. I told you, in between 2020 and 2021, the investment has doubled to 95 billion into this thing. And in 2025 till 2025, this is supposed to increase, right? It will take a long time. Innovation will come in the product, and the three areas which are going to see more and more is basically lending, basically payments, investment. These three areas, lot of technologies will come, and that's where you will use. Just to give you an idea, lending, you talk about microfinance today and other thing, right? Imagine lending of a fintech and forget the banks. Banks have no role to play. I gave you an example. Imagine there are 10 wealthy people in Chennai. Okay, everybody has 1 crore extra money, but they don't know. They don't have access to the people who require the money. So you have an application, right? Multiple borrowers approach. You decide, you need to find whether they are credit worthy. You decide how much you want to share. Maybe another person will share. I'll give you 50%, 50%, right? Imagine, for him, it's an advantage, because if he goes to a normal bank, he may not get it. But he is extremely studious. He has demonstrated his appetite, and he has a great potential. So there are individuals who are willing to take risk, willing to assess the risk, and then give money. So that's an application. So lending, payments, investment will continue to see phenomenal growth. For a next question, Pawan, for a project manager in IT service, what additional skills he needs to move as a product? Now, this is, see, product is extremely tricky, right? You have to, your product lives forever in a way, okay? Your project has got a definite start and stop, but a product is iterative. First thing, you can do project management in waterfall and different methodologies, but product is always iterative, especially in fintech. So you start with a minimum viable product. The term we use is MVP, and then you start iterating, bring it closer and closer. But does the product development stop, Pawan? No, because you release one version, suddenly, as I said, take the same student loan application I talked about. Now your application can cater to laptop, mobile, and let's say another device. So, but you've forgotten about smartwatch, or there is a similar development which happens like a smartwatch in the next 2 years, right? Your application should work seamlessly. Just to give you an idea, you take, see, now I'm taking an example from a non-fintech space. Take a Tesla car, right? When they wanted to roll out updates to Tesla car, you know what they said? You know what is the traditional methodology? You bring the car to your nearest depot, and then they will update, right? Imagine a car which is coming, and then you are remodeling or painting, right? You have to take the car to a owner, a dealer, depot shop. For a Tesla, when they wanted to roll a software updates and other thing, all they said is wherever you are, they keep the car out of your garage, keep it on between this time. The soft updates will be rolled out. So this is a mindset you have to bring in. Your product manager comes with a different mindset. Your product manager, in my opinion, you can be a very good project manager as long as you deliver. But for a product manager, you have to sit and think about customer. Your product, you have to assume the product is always existing. How will you improve? What is the wow factor you need to bring into the product so that you can acquire the customers and keep the customers forever? In the example I said, you acquire the customer as a budding student who is entering a college, but you don't lose him. Even after he has finished his college, he gets into a job, you have to continue to make him as your customer. The advantages are many things, right? You can see, you can sell multiple products to him because you're a customer. Remember, the cost of acquiring a customer is much more. So once you get a customer, please retain it. So that is a mindset of a product. I hope that gives you. See, from Darshan has written. Darshan, I have shared. In fact, in this presentation, I have shared all possible roles you can aspire to work in fintech by doing this BSc programming, data science course, or any other done in terms of programming, right? It is not enough to say I have an intellect. That is the first level. The second is you have to necessarily role, because If you do that, see, you don't have to do it to the middle. Start design. I want to spend management. I want to be a quantity. These are all fintech, but but example, a quantity, you should have used at least 2 statistical modeling package like a MATLAB, or you should be thorough in R. I do not know whether that may or may not be taught in part of your course. So if I were you, if I want to become in that role, if I want to make myself employable in the role, I will find a way to acquire that certification. And believe me, if all you need is open the Google internet world, find out what courses are available. Most courses from reputed universities give a standard discount to them. So I give an example. But product manager, programmer across different areas, quantitative and financial analyst, data architect, these are the broad category of the roles you can aim. So,
Yeah, so if we have any more questions, guys, please write it down in the chat box.
question. I will share my ID and then you can write to me. Remember, you want to make a difference. First thing, please ask to work in this industry. This is a very demanding industry, very, very demanding. And if you cannot learn and unlearn a technology very quickly, or because this is not about doing a program, this is about doing a program to its pinnacle. The program, remember, the word is straight through processing, right? The program should work seamlessly without any problem, without calling for additional hops from the applicant. So program should be pakka, it should be robust, and the experience should be the top, because it's a user experience using which the fintech product differentiate themselves to the user, right? See, I remember I gave an example of Atom Bank, simple. You go, it's a stunning user interface. It is not stunning because it's colorful. It's stunning because it is very simple and it does exactly what you expect it to do. Okay. Whatever the normal top 2-3 things you will do is available at the fingertips. Does it mean you can only do those top 2-3? No. Multiple options are there. You can configure more reports. The one you need is in the fingertips. That's what a great design should be there. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So, okay, from Ajay, when I said the proof point, I said, just to reiterate, proof points mean the following thing. I gave you a comprehensive list: certificates, completion of a standard course, completion of a project, a white paper you have done, a blog, or a project, right? Remember, all these are proof points. But the best proof point is work experience. But you may have at the time of applying for a job. I understand that. That's why I said, barring the work experience, you can give this. I do not know how many of you maintain a blog. If you have a blog, if you are passionate about a particular role, I would encourage you to write one-page article. You can look at different articles and consolidate and share your viewpoint. That is your article. But in the CV, if you are very convinced about your blog, you can give the blog and say, please go through my blog. That will give the interviewer some more idea about what you are as a person. Blog, a white paper you have written, you can post it there, right? White paper. Project. If you've done a project, please state, I played a very important role in a project. Never write it in the CV. Please specify what your role is. If you say that you want to work with multiple people, give the number. Don't worry about 2 people, 3 people. Nobody is going to judge you. A lot of people think that unless 10 people, nobody is judging me. You work with 2 people, say it proudly. The entire project consisted of 3 people. Person A played this role. Person B played this role. I played this role. And this is my KPPs. That means, as a role, when do you consider your role to be successful? Only when you deliver item A, B, C, right? And that A, B, C should be listed. You can't say, my contribution is vital to the project. My contribution is very important. Nobody gives importance to all those statements. You have to be extremely clear. You played the role of a designer, you write what you designed. You played the role of a product manager, you say what is your sprint duration, how many iterations you have delivered, what is your sprint velocity. You get the point, right? So take the role and define what you did. That's a key. So any of these example can be a proof point. So core skill, specific skill, proof point. Core, you don't have to state it in the CV, as I said. But specific skills, if you write a CV like this, people will not only be impressed, people will be very clear and they will appreciate the role where you've taken pains for that, right? See, it's like going to the supermarket and you pick up anything. You have to be fairly clear. See, you can be open working in multiple roles, but you have to be, when you are applying, you have to be clear about what you want to do. Nothing wrong. You can even say, my first preference is this role, second preference is this role. I hope that helps. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the detailed answer. Yes, thank you so much. So yeah, I am
Thank
pursuing
you, Madhu,
BTech and
and thank you, team. I wish you all a pleasant evening and wish you the very best. Take advantage of this BSc course.
thank you.
But
So much.
more important, the world is not
Yes.
only in BSc. You need to look at other things. Enjoy, learn, keep your CV as the end. How will my CV look like after 3 years? How will my CV look like after 2 years? Spend time. The number of pages is not an indicator of the CV. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much,
Thank you
Madhu.
so much.
Shall I sign off? Is that okay?
Yes, sure, sir. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for
Okay. Wish you all
joining.
pleasant evening. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for everyone for joining in.
Even after
Balaji, sir, can we stop the live stream maybe?